Hi, my name is Jade, and I live in Tallahassee, Florida, but I'm originally from a small town right outside of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. A very small town right outside the Army base. And I have an experience that I can't quite explain. I was maybe 18, 19 years old, so 2003, 2004 timeframe. And I used to work night shift at a local bar and grill. I was a hostess, and I would get off work usually around 2:30. And at this particular time, I remember I had gotten off of work. And so I remember getting off work a little later because I was hanging out with a few people. And it was probably closer to 3 o'clock. And to get home, I would go down a road called Hope Mills Road and then turn onto a road called Camden Road. And there's this long stretch of Camden Road that was not very well lit at the time. It had this hill that kind of slowly went down at an angle and came back uphill as you would drive. And the only light that you would have would be your headlights or oncoming traffic lights. And I remember that I was going down this hill, and there's this guy standing in the road. And I mean, like, he was like, I could touch him and feel him. Like, he looked just like a dude standing in the road. He was wearing a military uniform because I noticed the army green and shirt and pants with the black boots. As I got closer, I had my high beams on. And as I'm driving closer, he's not moving. He's standing in the middle of the road. And I'm like, he's got to know I'm approaching because my lights are bright. And he didn't move. And so I kind of slowed down. I pulled up next to him, cracked my window just a little bit. And I said, I was like, excuse me, sir, are you okay? And he just kind of turned at an angle a little bit to not really face me, but kind of facing the hood of my car. And he said, no, I need to find Mandy. And I said, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know a Mandy. Are you okay? Do you need me to call the police? And he said, no, I need to find Mandy. She's going to think I abandoned her. And he was really tall, maybe 6'3", maybe. And he had dark hair and very pale complexion. And I said, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know a Mandy, but I can call the police if you need help. And he said, no, but Mandy's going to think I abandoned her. And I said, okay, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know what I can do to help you. And he just turned and walked towards the left, towards the woods. And before he got to the wood line, he just disappeared. And at this point, I'm sitting there like, what the hell just happened? And so there was nobody on this road. 3 o'clock in the morning, nobody's on this road. So I just started driving home. And I remember when I was speaking to him, I felt very sad. And I wanted to help him, but I didn't know how I could help him. But I felt just like I wanted to cry. And his military uniform he was wearing was the army green. It had a collar with the buttons, and it had 4 pockets on the front. It had 2 pockets right over the breast, and then 2 pockets down by his abdomen. And he was just a guy in the road. And so the next day I told my friend about it, and she just kind of was like, you're going crazy. Like, you've been working way too many night shifts. Stop picking up shifts. And I was like, no, I mean, I know what I saw. But the way that she was acting kind of made me think, like, okay, am I going crazy? Like, I've got to be going crazy. There's no way that I saw a grown man in the military just disappear. Like, it was completely random, and it freaked me out. The next night that I went to go to work, I specifically did not go home that way. I changed my route to go home and took the long way home. And fast forward about a month and a half, 2 months, they were doing construction on the route that I was taking home. So, of course, I had to take a detour and go down Camden Road to get home. So, as I'm going down Camden Road, I peeped that hill coming down, and sure enough, there was a guy standing in the middle of the road. And I was like, I don't know this guy's name. I don't know nothing about him. And I started freaking out again because I'm like, I see him. I know I see him. I'm not going crazy. And so as I was getting closer to him, of course, I slowed down. Like, even though I was freaked out, I felt extremely sad. And like I wanted to cry and I wanted to help him. But as I got closer to him, another car came in the opposite direction and had their lights on. And he just turned before I could get to him and just walked towards the woods again and disappeared. And I know that the car that was coming at me saw him too, because they slowed down significantly. And as I passed them, they had their brakes lights on, like they were looking towards the woods to see if they could see this man. And I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one who saw this. Like, I'm not insane. I'm not crazy. So I ended up telling a couple of my military buddies, because most of my family's military. I had a lot of military friends. Living in a military town is like the only friends you really had. And the majority of them, I told maybe like 6 people, 7 people. And a majority of them didn't believe me, but a few of them did. Like 2 of them did believe me, and they were like, it's a little weird. And so one of them was like, can you describe the uniform again? So I described the military uniform to him, and he's like, that's not a uniform that we currently have in the military right now. He's like, it sounds older. So we ended up going to this the shop where a lot of military guys would go and get their dog tags made. They would buy berets, they would buy, jackets, whatever that they would need for the military. But this particular store also had older military uniforms, because the guy would sell them to veterans or just have them and would sell them. And we spent about 35 minutes looking around the shop. And my friend finally found the top part of the uniform, and he turned to me and he said, is this a uniform you saw this man wearing? And I said, yes. It had the collar, the buttons, it had the 4 pockets in the front. And he said, this is definitely an older era uniform. It's definitely not, it's older. It's not, anything we're wearing right now. So we went up to the guy who owned the shop and we said, what uniform is this? And he said, oh, that's our Vietnam era uniform. I have a lot of vets that'll come in and, they buy from whatever war that they had served or they fought in. They would buy stuff from that era. And so my friend looked at me and he was like, Vietnam? And I said, yeah, about that. So I had told him again of the experience, and he was like, it sounds like you just experienced a ghost or a spirit or some sort of paranormal activity. And I said, but the thing is movies make you think that spirits or ghosts are like see-through or mist, or you could stick your hand through them, Casper type stuff, and I said he looked as if I were to get out of the car I could wrap my arms around him and hug him. Like, that's how real he looked. But he disappeared when he got to the woods, the edge of the woods, and I never went back down that road. I still to this day will refuse to go back down that road by myself. Then again, I also haven't been home in a very long time. But it is definitely, I never went back down that road after that. I kept taking the long way around. I actually would go through a whole other section of town, since they were doing detour on my route that I was taking the long way home. I took a whole other route to get to where I needed to go when I would get off work. And yeah, that was my experience that to this day, I can't explain.